Here's the mama and her babies. They're all lined up this morning. So sweet. I can't tell. Is that one eyes open? No, no eyes open yet. But boy, they getting a lot of fur. Look how pretty they are. Looks like we're going to end up with a lot of gray ones. She's over here snuggled right next to him. Sweet. And this one has got her nesting box completely full, so I got a feeling she's getting close, but she really hadn't stopped eating yet. She's like, what's going on? Come on, baby, let's get some babies here. I'm ready. Look at these sweeties all lined up eating. These are super nice rabbits here. When I stick my hands in there, they always want to smell my hands because, you know, I've been petting the dogs and they're like, what is that? I love it when they line up like this. Getting their morning hay. Or we call it Timothy grass, but this time around it looks closer to hay than it does grass. Sweet rabbits. They're going to be sweet tasting in a stew. Alright, we got another group. These are a little bit older. Listen to them chewing. Sounds like a bunch of termites. It's kind of funny, this morning they're eating on the pallets over here. I had kind of refreshed their bowl. And they're tearing it up. Normally when you throw the Timothy grass in there, they all pile up on that. I got about one more month and then these suckers are going to be heading for the freezer. I got to start eating some rabbit. We're not going through it like we were there. We had some family living with us for a while and we were eating a lot of rabbit. Now it's just the wife and I. And of course when steaks are on sale or I get a ham, it's like we'll eat on that for a while instead of our normal chicken and rabbit that we raised. So anyways, I got to start working on my freezer, knocking it down, because before you know it, it'll be spring again. I'm going to need that freezer space. I've never had, I'll tell you, the last year I really refined my rabbit process, and I really don't end up with any sickness anymore. Of course, I think that's a lot to do with breeding. We had to take one male out of the mix. I think he was passing on something, but also the way we maintain the cages twice a day keeps it perfectly clean, and we just don't see any of the sickness. And these rabbits are thriving. You know, a funny story on the tractorsupply.com. This Stanley grab and go bag of Timothy grass. It's a green bag. One of my friends had used it, and I said, man, I didn't buy that because it was a lot more expensive. He goes, you know what, but it just seems like it's so much more convenient being in a plastic bag. And I was having trouble with one of the other feed stores in the area with the hay that I was getting. It was very inconsistent, and occasionally they would give me the wrong stuff. They wouldn't keep track of where they were putting the pallets, and a lot of this stuff looks very similar to each other. So I wasn't even, and next you know I end up with a bunch of rabbits that are all sick and everything. And so I started using this Stanley, and I'm telling you, this has been a miracle because it's so consistent. Now I would argue, you know, there's like first cut, second cut, third cut, and you can tell in the bag, but it seems like the rabbits tolerate it very nicely. You know, the first cut looks more like grass that you'd have in your lawn, and then the second cut is kind of a mix of the two, and the third cut is maybe more like straw. But the rabbits don't care, and I'm telling you, they thrive. And I actually made a comment on the website because it said it was meant for, you know, larger animals, not rabbits. And I said, hey, look, this stuff works great. And somebody at Tractor Supply came back and said, no, this is not recommended for rabbits. We want you to use this, that, and the other. And I'm about ready to go back on and says, you guys don't know what the heck you're talking about. because I tell you, I have just had phenomenal results with this. And it's also the rabbit feed that I get is $1 cheaper than the Premier stuff, and I looked at the difference between the two, the composition, and there was no appreciable difference to account for that $1 extra bag. So, you know, you just got to do a little trial and error. In fact, the more expensive stuff actually spoiled very fast compared to this stuff. So I've been real happy. Let me tell you, from a rabbit breeder now that's going on my 3rd year now, this is working out fantastic. And then these chicken feeders, that's a huge improvement too, because, you know, those little metal things on the side of the cages right there, those just don't hold enough food when you got, you know, 8 or 10 rabbits here. So the chicken feeders work like a champ. And they got 7-pound and 10-pound feeders, so I think that's a 10-pound and this is a 7-pound. In fact, I'm surprised I got a 7-pound in here with as many rabbits, but I think it's just the way it works. I need to swap things around. But as these things get bigger and bigger, man, they just really go through the food. I got about, I think I'm over 30 babies, and I got 2 more does that are pregnant, about ready to burst. And I'm hesitant to mate any more because, like I said, I'm backing up on rabbit. I got too much rabbit right now, or I got to find a source or a somebody to sell some of these to. I got somebody down the street that might be interested, so I need a little store. All right, well, these are my babies. They're doing super well. I'm really kind of surprised these guys aren't all over the Timothy grass. Normally they are. You got to watch out when you see a rabbit in the corner like this, because that usually means it's not feeling well. So I'll have to check it in a little bit. You check the back end. Let me do that real quick. It's fine. It's just the runt, and it has to wait its turn to get in there. But you got to watch for a little diarrhea action, because as soon as that happens, you got to separate it, because it's pretty contagious. But I really haven't had that much trouble. All right, let me get over here and do the males. So my egg production has dropped off lately, and I suspected I probably had a snake in here snatching some eggs. And so yesterday when Barb came down to collect eggs, she saw a snake. And unfortunately it was too quick for me to get a hold of it. But these doggone eastern rat snakes, they love eggs. Look at that, we got 2 of them in here. There's a spot for 3. I had a divider in here, but they kept knocking it down. Let's look over here at this one. No chickens in here right now. You gonna come in, lay an egg? But anyways, so I gotta start collecting eggs like about noon. Let me through. They get right underneath your feet, and that's why it's so easy to step on them, especially when you're carrying bales of hay and everything. But anyways, I got to start collecting eggs at noon, and then I've got a couple ceramic eggs. I was going to stick a couple eggs in a trap and put the ceramic eggs in there too, just to keep the chickens out, but the snake can get in there, and see if I can't kill this snake, because pretty soon they'll actually, when they get hungry enough, they'll kill a chicken. That's what happened 2 years ago. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that watermelon. I showed you this watermelon the other day. It was just the size of a dime. Now it's the size of $1. So anyways, we've had a couple waterings that I put in here, and we've also had rain. So these things are going to really just start taking off. I guess I'm going to have a party. Down here, my fruit trees are starting to get overrun. I got to go in here and dig out these vines and give them room to grow. Got to mow basically too. That's going to be the problem trying to keep this thing going. I don't know how they do in the fields. I don't like using Roundup and all that other kind of stuff, so I guess it'll be just a manual effort. Got to get some weeding done. I think I'll put the dogs up and get out here and do a quick weeding in the watermelon patch anyways. All right, my third set of batteries are now fully charged, so that's fantastic. It's about a 24-hour process. And I'm just looking at my potatoes. Is anything happening? Nothing yet, but we're only, I have to go back and look. This is only like day 3, but I keep looking. Watch pot never boils, right? Look what I found in my garden. He's being bashful right now. I just picked him up and put him on the rock. But I was out here just pulling weeds out around my fruit trees. Now you're sitting on my camera rock. That's where I was putting my camera while I was working. I'll show you how I was working. My hands are full of dirt. Hey baby, you can go about your day now. I'm not gonna bother you anymore. I just wanted to clean around the fruit trees. It's a good looking little box turtle. Surprised you got in here since I got it all fenced off. There's a lake off the back of my property. So we get tons of frogs, but I haven't seen that many turtles. This is probably about the 3rd one I found. They don't eat much. I'll let them in here. Well, this hill's working out better than I thought it would, but what I got to do is at every other level I need to make walkways, so I got to put some stepping stones and things. Ah, look at what I got in here. I could tell something was eating on these things. I don't know if you can see it. There's a grasshopper down in there. And then over here, I've got some kind of infestation. Whew, it is hot out here already. Whoa. Oh, that's actually not even my watermelon plant. I gotta pull that out. Man, some of these things are really in here deep. Alright, but anyways, yeah. The things that are being eaten are actually plants that look like my watermelons, and I got to get them out of here. All right, well, that's good to know. Ooh, sweating starting to pour off my head here. It's always good to kind of get in here close and look at your plants. Now, I got to tell you, all I did on this was I used my rototiller and rototilled out rows about every couple feet down the hill. And then I backfilled it with cow manure. Not, did I say cow manure? Rabbit manure. And it's worked out much better than I thought. Now, there's actually a science with watermelons, which when I do stuff, I don't really follow the dang things. I got to get rid of rabbit manure, so I threw it in. When I was at Home Depot, I saw cantaloupes and watermelon. I said, yeah, I'm going to get me some of those, and I just threw them in the ground. Shut up! Anyways, it seems to be working fine, but there's actually a fertilization plan you're supposed to use. But even in Florida, we had a semicircular drive, and I had made like a zero-scape area out there. And one year we'd given the kids some watermelon to eat outside. We had a big family get together, and they had spit seeds in that area, and I didn't pay attention or notice until next spring. We had this viney looking thing growing up, and I said, man, it looks like watermelon. So I just kind of watched it, and we watered when it started getting a little weepy, but I didn't do anything to it. And next, you know, we ended up with, these were those big, long watermelons. Probably 30-pounder type watermelons. They were big watermelons. Even the garbage man, when he was coming down the street, he, you know, picked up the garbage and drove past, and then he backed up and looked and said, what the heck? But it's like, we use that area. I grew some cabbage. I grew all kinds of stuff in there all the time just to try things. And
So watermelon don't need that much care, actually. They probably just need water more than anything. And but that rabbit manure looks like it's doing a great job. I don't know what Georgia clay has as far as nutrients, but I mean, I just showed you this the other day. Look at my hand. It's a good size. I did come out here and I put boards underneath each of the big watermelons, so now I've got to come over here underneath these smaller ones and do the same thing. I've got a bunch of tips of my fence pickets that I use for the base of my log racks. I've got the tips that I had to cut off, and so they're perfect for putting underneath the watermelon. So chickens are always entertaining. I'm over here trying to take care of my rabbits, and they decided to jump up inside the bin where I keep the Timothy grass. They say, hey, this would be a great spot to lay an egg. Look how big these Rhode Island Reds have got. Jeez, they are super big. It's impressive. Anyways, it's always entertaining. These guys, they're always quite funny. I got to get me a Rhode Island Red rooster, though. I'm going to have to raise one up. Anyways, it's getting hot. I'm going to go ahead and take a shower. Go see what we got for news for the day. Hope everybody's treating you well. Do the best you can. God bless.